everyone, it's Presley of ActOutGames.com here, and ever since Pokemon Go came out, I've been wanting to ride my bike and go outside a little bit more, but unfortunately both of my bike tires are completely flat.
They are totally flat, yeah.
So I'm going to be learning a little bit about how I can take care of my bike, how to reinflate the tires, and how to just generally take care of the bike.
Yeah, and if you're out riding, like your chain could pop off or something, so she'll show you how to put the chain back on and things that you can deal with yourself if you're out riding without having to call us to come get you. Right?
Did you come again?
So first thing we're gonna do is we're probably gonna change and go ahead and put new tubes in the tires, right? So there are little tubes full of air, rubber tubes in here that are full of air, and then there's the rubber on the outside that kind of makes it tough. And these things get punctured a lot, right? And so that'll puncture the tube inside, and that tube will go flat. It's kind of science, that's right. And so that'll go flat, right? So first thing we gotta do is we gotta get the tube that's inside of here. What's that?
Bicycles are science.
Bicycles are science. Everything is science, Cooper. So we gotta get everything out of here, right? And so to get this tube out, like it's a ring, and so it would be stuck right here on this rim. You wouldn't be able to get it off, right? And so we have to take the tire off the bicycle in order to take the tube out. Yeah, so we gotta take these two bolts off, right? And so here you got a bolt on this side and there's the same bolt on the other side, and there's an axle in between them. And so that's a sort of a unique problem because if you spin this nut here, it'll spin the nut on the other side a lot of times. And so you have to hold this one side still and turn the other to get it to come off, okay? So when you wanna take this nut off like this, which way do you turn it? To loosen it. Left. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey?
Yeah.
And which way is left? Show me with your hand how you would turn it.
I would turn it this way.
Well, but what does that mean? Like hold your hand here like you're turning it. What?
I don't know.
So spin it.
I'm not holding something.
No, just spin it like you were gonna spin it off. There you go, right. So lefty-loosey, the top of it goes left, counterclockwise, right?
Yeah.
There's a few different ways you can turn a nut like this, right? The easiest way is with a little, socket wrench. With the right size thing, you can turn it, right? And if you look here, hold on, Cooper. This one, it spins one way freely, and then it's hard to turn the other way because it's turning the nut. That way you can kind of ratchet it, right? So it's called a ratchet action, yeah? So right now, which way do I want to turn it? Right, and it's not turning that way. It's set the other direction. You know how to switch it the other direction? Okay, so now see if you can turn it. So loosen it. It's not doing anything when you turn it that way. Right. Okay. Which way do you want to turn it to loosen it? Okay, so try turning it that way. But it's not stuck, it's trying to loosen the nut, so you have to make it. So, now let's talk a little bit. Hold on one second before you turn it more. When you're trying to turn a nut like that, do you remember what that force is called?
Centrifugal?
Nope. Like the spinning, like when you've got like so you've got like this lever here, right? And you're putting pressure on this lever and it's putting the pressure here to make this turn. Remember what that's called?
No.
Torque.
Torque.
Right? And you remember how torque is calculated? How much torque you're putting on this?
It has something to do with how close to it.
That's right. Well, sort of, yeah. What, do you remember? We got this wrench. And so I'm gonna put force on the wrench.
Oh, is it?
And so it's the amount of force that I put on the wrench times what?
Times the amount of force times, I guess, what the distance.
The distance, right? The distance that I'm putting the force from this nut, right? So that's why I brought these two. Which one do you think helps
This one.
more? Why does this help more?
Because there's more distance.
Right, so it multiplies. Like, see, this is at least twice as long, right? So you'll put twice as much force, twice as much torque on that bolt by using a longer wrench, right? And then sometimes you even, when you have these really like big stuck, these big stuck bars, you can put like a piece of pipe on it that's like 4 feet long. It's called a cheater bar because you're putting so much extra torque on it to cheat to take these things off. But this should be enough for you to turn this. Let's see. I might have to get it started for you.
Yeah.
Because it's been on there for an awful long time.
Hold my legs.
Pull, pull, pull. Don't hurt yourself or me, please. All right, I'll get it started.
There.
Okay, so now you should be able to turn it, and I'll tell you when this one over here starts turning. So you don't have to spin all the way around because it's a ratchet, so you can go back that way. Yeah, there you go. That's what ratchet is. Okay, you don't have to come all the way off, right? Because see, look at this. See how this is slotted? So if you loosen that, we'll be able to slide the tire off. You don't have to take it off at all because it'll slide off, but you do need to do the same thing over here on the other side. So this bike, partially because it's a kid's bike and you don't want your tire to fall off because you did weird maintenance on it. This little bracket right here, it's attached to the axle and then attached to the frame. And so that way if these nuts come loose, your wheel won't just pop off because this little bracket is here holding it, which means we also need to take this off.
Screwdriver.
Okay, go ahead. So now see how loose this tire is?
Oh, damn.
Watch your fingers, Cooper. Why can't I take the tire off right now?
It's not.
Why won't it come off? What's
It's
stopping?
this of the bar.
That's exactly right, Cooper. The chain is holding it
It's
on.
the same. That's what I was looking for. It went through here and it connects to this little wire hole right here. So we're trying to take this one off. That's why we're trying to take out the boat.
Yeah, okay, so I'll come around the other side. Instead of pulling it off, the first thing you have to do is push it in and make this chain really loose.
I have had
And then once the chain's loose, you can take the chain off like that, right? And that gives you enough room.
So that's what would happen if your chain popped up. You could just go back on.
Yeah, when we put the tire back on, you'll see how you put it back on. And then the tire comes off.
Yay.
There's your back tire. Okay, so this is part of your tube. And see how that's bent? I think that's because you've been riding it a little bit with it flat, but that's really bad. So that tells me the tube is probably damaged. Anyway, but you gotta take the little cap off, so that's where you put air in, right? And so what we have to do is take this part of the tire off so we can get to the tube, okay?
Heel.
So you can take a screwdriver. They actually make tools that are specifically for doing this, but I've always used a screwdriver. And you pop it out. You see that?
Oh, now we're going to see the bar that you were talking about.
And then as you like slide that around, you see how it starts popping off?
Yeah, I see on the wood.
I think you just poked a hole in it.
You know, I just stab the tube. That's why you don't use a screwdriver. But since we're replacing it anyway, it doesn't matter. So now, we've got this exposed all the way. So if I lay it down, you can see there's this gap right here, right? So you should be able to
I see
start here, where the stem is, pull this up, and then reach in and grab that inner tube and pull it so that comes through. Remember when we need to push this through?
Oh. Want to see something?
You've detubed your first tire.
And it is.
Well, I also just shoved a screwdriver in it, but that didn't help by any means. So we're gonna measure this, and then we're gonna go buy a new pair of these, right? But first, we need to take that front tire off. So it's a little bit easier because there's no chain up front, but it's a little bit harder because you have those little like stunt foot pegs up there, and we need to take those off. Look up there and see if you can figure out how we're gonna take those off. So look at how they're designed. There's a feature that will help you take them off.
This hole.
And what would you do with that?
Put something in it. Yeah.
See if that's too big. Now, so, wait. Let's talk about our torque lesson. Do you want the handle of the screwdriver as close as possible to the foot peg?
This far.
Yeah, so you want it as far away as possible so you can make more torque, right? Let's see if you can turn this one by yourself or if we need help again. Which way are you turning? It's okay.
Okay.
If you're strong enough to break my screwdriver, I'll be impressed, not mad. It doesn't have to come all the way off because we just need to loosen it so that we can pop it off. But you need to do this one over here. You lift that off. Awesome. Go back over there.
This is what we use for our gyroscope.
That is what we use for the gyroscope. Yep. All right. So now let's see you take the tube out. So now you have both tubes out. So we're gonna write down which kind of tubes we need, and then we're gonna run over to T probably and pick up some new tubes.
Cool.
Cool?
Yeah.
All right, let's go do that.
Okay, so we went and we got these new tire tubes, and these are apparently fancy self-sealing ones that have a green goop in them that I guess sort of clots the hole and makes it so that you don't get holes in your tires and flat them easier. And that's helpful because as you know, these were very, very flat.
They were.
So hopefully this will help them stay in a better shape for longer.
Yeah, we used this actually. We had this like running stroller for you when you were little, like it's maybe in Hawaii.
Oh,
and there were like, yeah, well, it's just got big. It's a stroller and it's got big wheels on it, so the person can run with a stroller. And there were all these little like thorns around the trail in this place we used to run in Hawaii, so the tires would get punctured all the time.
Yeah, this one like is on the bottom.
Yeah, like these little spikes, and so we put some of this stuff in there, and then when it would get poked, it would seal up like what?
A blood clot.
Like a blood clot. It's like having a little blood in your tires. And
That's
so
kind of worrying, but
it kind of clots when something bad happens. So we grabbed a couple of tubes, and so now we're basically just gonna reverse everything that we did.
Send you up to Hawaii when I was born in Hawaii, or I was never at Hawaii.
Yeah, you haven't even been to Hawaii yet.
I didn't know this really happened, but I'm just saying yes to it.
You're just being agreeable.
Yes.
Now, the front tire you can kind of put on either way you want, but this one you can only put on one way.
Oh, no.
So I need you to go look and see if you can tell which way it's supposed to go on. We got the chain on the back sprocket, right? And then you can turn, if you think about how you're pedaling, right? We're gonna turn this way. And so if the chain's not big, it may actually be big enough.
yeah, this is like a bike that's meant for kids, so it might be easier to do.
Yeah, so it actually fits.
Cool.
Okay, so sometimes even with the tire all the way in, you can't get the chain all the way on, so you kind of have to start it at one point and then spin this around to get it to lock in, but luckily that's not the case on this one. All right, so now, obviously if your chain is this loose, it'll just keep falling off all the time. So you need your chain to be tighter when you're riding. How do you think you make your chain tighter? So can you think of a way that we can adjust the distance between those two sprockets easily? It's not a trick question, it's really simple.
Okay. Can you take one off and move it?
Nope. If I want this sprocket to be
It's a
further
slider
away.
thing.
Yeah, so you pull the tire backwards.
Cool.
See?
Ta-da.
I think that's actually pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So we got it all tightened back up, tubes back in, inflated, chains back on. We even put the little safety retainer thing that they've got on this bike on. So I think you can flip it back over and let's look and see how it looks. Okay. Cool.
That's just because I wasn't really very good.
All right, so let's put some shoes on and go outside and ride around just for a second and make sure everything looks okay. Yeah.
Cool. Whoa. Wow, this is so much better. Wow. Whee! I got my pants stuck. Hello.
How are you?
Good. We just fixed my bike, so I'm pretty excited.